Have you ever held a seed in your hand, feeling the weight of its smallness, and wondered if it would ever grow? You stare at it, and nothing seems to happen. But beneath the surface, life is stirring. So it is with us and with the seasons of our lives. Often, we look for God in the visible, in the dramatic, in the moments we can understand. Yet, His hand is most powerful in the invisible, in the quiet, in the seasons we cannot control. Friends, life is a tapestry of seasons, some filled with joy, others with struggle, and many with waiting. Yet every season, even the painful ones, bears the fingerprints of the divine. It is a grave mistake to measure God's care by the ease of our circumstances. The farmer does not curse the winter frost. He knows that frost preserves the soil for spring's bounty. So too, we must learn to see God's hand in every season. There are seasons of planting, where effort seems to yield nothing, but God is working behind the scenes. There are seasons of waiting, when prayers seem unanswered, yet faith is being forged like steel in the fire. And there are seasons of harvest, when blessings unfold, reminding us that patience is never wasted. But how do we recognize God's hand when life feels uncertain? It begins with perspective. Instead of asking, "Why me?" we ask, "What is God teaching me here?" We shift from despair to curiosity, from complaint to wonder, trusting that each circumstance, joyful or painful, is a brushstroke in the masterpiece of our lives. Faith is not passive. It is active seeing. It is choosing to notice the hidden provision, the subtle guidance, the quiet whisper that nudges us forward. It is gratitude when the answer is delayed, humility when the lesson is hard, and courage when the path seems dark. So today, let us commit to looking beyond the surface. Let us train our eyes to see the invisible hands shaping our journey, to recognize God's work in every trial, every blessing, every quiet moment. For it is in seeing God's hand in every season that our hearts are transformed, our faith strengthened, and our lives made whole. The seed beneath the soil trusts the sun, the rain, and the unseen roots. So must we trust the hand that guides us through every season, knowing that nothing is wasted in the economy of the divine. God's presence is not limited to the moments when life is easy, nor does it disappear when challenges arise. It is constant, steady, and unshakable, flowing like an invisible river beneath the surface of our experiences. Even when the world feels chaotic, even when circumstances seem unfair or confusing, His hand is there guiding, protecting, and sustaining us. Many people wait to feel God in dramatic ways, expecting lightning, thunder, or miraculous signs, but most often, His presence is quiet. It is a soft whisper in the middle of anxiety, a calm in the storm, a gentle nudge that encourages us to take one more step forward, even when we cannot see the whole path. We live in a world that constantly demands results, yet God works in ways that are often invisible to the human eye. The seed of a tree does not shout as it grows beneath the soil, yet life is happening inside it, slowly but surely. Similarly, in our lives, every prayer, every effort, and every act of faith is noticed and valued, even when we do not immediately see the outcome. God's presence is not measured by our ability to recognize it. It is measured by His faithfulness and constancy. Understanding this truth changes everything. When we realize that God is present in every moment, we begin to look for His work in both the good and the bad. The celebration of a victory becomes sweeter when we acknowledge Him. The pain of a setback becomes bearable when we trust that He is shaping our character. Even in seasons of waiting, when answers seem delayed, His presence is like the sun behind clouds, always there, warming, nurturing, and preparing us for the light that will eventually break through. People often believe that God's hand is only in extraordinary events, but the reality is that His presence is most transformative in ordinary moments. A kind word, a quiet decision to forgive, a patient response to frustration. These small acts are where his hand moves, shaping hearts, teaching lessons and building resilience. Recognizing God's presence in all circumstances allows us to live with hope and confidence, knowing that nothing is random and nothing is without purpose. It turns fear into faith, despair into courage, and uncertainty into trust. Life is divided into seasons, each with its own purpose and rhythm, and no season is wasted. There are times of planting, when we invest our energy, time, and effort without immediate reward. These are seasons of preparation, where skills are sharpened, character is strengthened, and faith is cultivated. Even when progress seems invisible, the work done in these moments lays the foundation for the harvest to come. Patience becomes our companion, and persistence becomes a habit. Then there are seasons of waiting, when our prayers feel unanswered, and our hearts grow restless. These seasons test our endurance and challenge our trust. Waiting is not empty, it is formative. It teaches us humility, it develops our resilience, and it reveals the depth of our reliance on God's timing. In these quiet moments, we learn that life is not only about what we achieve, but about who we become while we wait. Waiting trains our eyes to see opportunities in disguise and our hearts to recognize lessons hidden in discomfort. Storms also come as seasons of testing, shaking the very foundation of our confidence. It is natural to resist them, to question, to complain. Yet storms reveal the hidden strength within us, the courage we didn't know we had, and the unwavering presence of God even when fear surrounds us. They stretch our understanding, sharpen our priorities, and force us to let go of control. These are the seasons where transformation occurs, where faith grows roots deep enough to withstand any trial. And then there are seasons of harvest, moments when effort, patience, and endurance are rewarded. These seasons are not just about material or visible success. They are about spiritual and emotional maturity. The harvest reminds us that nothing invested in faith and perseverance is lost. The joy we feel is magnified because we have endured and grown through the prior seasons. Gratitude becomes natural, and humility strengthens as we recognize the hands of God guiding every step that led to this moment. Every season, whether of planting, waiting, testing, or harvesting, carries lessons meant to shape our identity. Understanding that life is cyclical, that no season is permanent, and that every season has value empowers us to face difficulties with hope, celebrate victories with grace, and navigate transitions with courage. It teaches us that life's fullness is found not in avoiding hardship, but in embracing the rhythm of growth and transformation. Life often challenges us with situations that feel unfair, confusing, or overwhelming. It is easy to focus on the difficulty itself, to allow circumstances to dictate our emotions, decisions, and sense of worth. Yet the true measure of strength and faith is not in avoiding challenges, but in how we perceive them. Perspective changes everything. Two people may experience the same storm, yet one feels crushed while the other grows stronger. The difference is not in the storm itself, but in the eyes with which it is seen. When we shift our perspective from despair to hope, we begin to notice opportunities and lessons hidden in difficulty. A failure becomes a chance to learn, a rejection becomes a redirection, and a delay becomes an invitation to grow patience. Perspective allows us to transform pain into purpose. It helps us see that every setback, every obstacle, every disappointment is a part of a larger plan, often invisible to us in the moment. By looking beyond the surface, we can identify the small victories, the subtle guidance, and the quiet moments of grace that surround us even in the hardest seasons. Perspective over circumstance also teaches gratitude. Instead of measuring life by what is missing or what is painful, we start to recognize what is present: love, lessons, strength, and the unseen ways in which we are being shaped. Gratitude shifts our attention from scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust, and from complaint to acceptance. It empowers us to respond instead of react, to act with wisdom instead of emotion, and to choose faith instead of despair. Human beings are wired to notice problems more than possibilities. Our brains naturally focus on threats, difficulties, and what is lacking. Yet perspective trained by faith, reflection, and awareness rewires our attention to see the bigger picture. It allows us to understand that hardships are temporary, blessings are abundant, and growth is continuous. Perspective does not deny reality, but it reframes it in a way that invites courage, creativity, and resilience. By learning to view circumstances through a lens of faith and insight, we gain clarity, patience, and strength. We stop blaming, stop resisting, and start seeing the hand of God, the opportunities for growth, and the lessons hidden within every situation. Perspective over circumstance is a choice, a daily practice of looking deeper, thinking differently, and trusting that life's challenges are not barriers, but stepping stones toward purpose and fulfillment. Faith is not measured by what we can see, but by what we trust even when the path is hidden. Life often demands belief in outcomes we cannot control and in guidance we cannot fully perceive. The invisible is where true growth occurs, because what cannot be seen challenges us to rely on God rather than our own understanding. It is easy to have faith when everything is clear, but the strongest faith is forged in uncertainty, in moments when we feel lost, and in situations where the answers are delayed. Waiting without seeing, acting without proof, and trusting without evidence requires courage. Human nature craves certainty, but life often presents mysteries. These moments test the depth of our faith and refine our hearts. Each time we choose to step forward despite fear, we demonstrate trust in something greater than ourselves. Invisible guidance is often subtle. A quiet nudge, a thought that shifts perspective, a sense of calm amidst chaos. Recognizing it requires attentiveness, patience, and the willingness to listen beyond the noise of doubt and distraction. Faith amidst the invisible also teaches resilience. When outcomes are unclear, we are forced to rely on persistence and inner strength. We learn to navigate challenges with determination, knowing that our efforts are not wasted even if results are delayed. Faith allows us to keep moving, even when the road is uncertain, understanding that every step forward, no matter how small, matters in the larger plan. The invisible work of God in our lives is often preparing us for something we cannot yet see, shaping our character and equipping us for future blessings. Human beings often struggle with what is unseen because it cannot be measured or controlled. Yet it is precisely in the unseen that God's hand is most powerful. The roots of a tree grow in darkness before the fruit appears. The foundation of our lives, our values, our purpose, and our strength often develops in invisible ways long before we recognize the results. Faith allows us to embrace this mystery with hope, confidence, and joy, trusting that the unseen is always working for our ultimate good. Choosing faith amidst the invisible changes the way we experience life. It transforms anxiety into peace, doubt into hope, and fear into courage. It teaches patience, deepens our trust, and aligns our hearts with a vision larger than what we can perceive. Faith in the invisible invites us to walk boldly, to act with conviction, and to believe that even when we cannot see, we are guided, protected, and supported by a hand that never fails. Every experience in life, whether joyful or painful, carries a purpose that is often hidden from our immediate understanding. Human beings naturally seek meaning, yet we often struggle when situations seem random, unfair, or difficult. Life teaches us that no event is wasted, and every encounter, challenge, and triumph is shaping us in ways we cannot always see. Pain develops empathy, failure builds resilience, and disappointment teaches humility. Even moments of great joy serve a purpose, reminding us of the beauty of life and the blessings we might otherwise take for granted. Purpose in every experience requires intentional reflection. It asks us to look beyond the surface and consider what lessons each moment offers. When we stumble or face setbacks, it is easy to feel defeated, yet those moments often carry the most profound opportunities for growth. A loss may reveal hidden strengths, a broken relationship may guide us toward healthier connections, and a career challenge may redirect us toward our true calling. Each experience is a teacher, and every season carries wisdom meant to shape our character and deepen our understanding of life. Purpose also requires patience. Often, the meaning of an experience is not immediately clear. We may not see the reason behind hardship until years later, when hindsight reveals how that season prepared us for something greater. The human tendency is to demand instant understanding, yet life operates on a timeline that exceeds our vision. Recognizing purpose in every experience trains us to trust, to remain steadfast, and to remain open to the unseen ways in which life is working for our benefit. When we embrace the idea that every experience has purpose, it changes how we respond to life. We stop asking only, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me? How can this strengthen me? How can I use this moment to grow or help others?" It shifts our perspective from victimhood to agency, from frustration to curiosity, and from despair to hope. Purpose turns ordinary moments into lessons, challenges into opportunities, and setbacks into stepping stones. It allows us to navigate life with clarity, courage, and meaning, knowing that even when circumstances seem chaotic, every experience contributes to a larger design that is shaping our lives, hearts, and character. Seeing God's hand in every season requires more than passive hope. It demands active participation. Life does not unfold fully while we wait idly. We are invited to engage, reflect, and cooperate with the opportunities and lessons around us. Human beings are naturally reactive, responding to circumstances as they come, but active participation means choosing intentionality, awareness, and effort in every moment. It is the difference between drifting through life and steering a course guided by purpose and faith. Active participation begins with attentiveness. We must train our minds and hearts to notice the subtle ways God works around us, through people, events, or even challenges. A small act of kindness may carry great meaning. A timely decision may shape our destiny, and a quiet reflection may reveal a path we never considered. Awareness allows us to recognize the invisible threads of guidance woven into our daily experiences. Every gesture, conversation, and choice becomes a part of a larger narrative that is shaping our journey. Intentional action is equally essential. Faith is alive when it moves beyond thought and enters practice. Prayer, reflection, gratitude, and perseverance are ways we participate actively in life's seasons. When we act with purpose, even small steps can yield profound results. Waiting is not passive when our hearts and minds are engaged. Preparation, learning, and effort turn waiting into fertile ground for growth. By participating actively, we align ourselves with the unseen work of God, making it possible to recognize and cooperate with the divine rhythm of our lives. Active participation also involves a mindset of gratitude and reflection. When we notice and acknowledge God's hand in small victories and everyday blessings, our hearts are strengthened and our vision is sharpened. Gratitude opens our eyes to possibilities we may otherwise overlook, helping us see patterns, lessons, and opportunities in ordinary moments. Reflection allows us to learn from past experiences, understand their purpose, and make wiser choices for the future. Together, these practices cultivate a life that is responsive, engaged, and aligned with a higher purpose. Human beings are not mere spectators of life. We are co-creators in the unfolding of our journeys. By participating actively, we transform challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and ordinary moments into steps toward growth and fulfillment. We become aware of God's guidance, recognize the lessons embedded in each season, and make choices that reflect faith, courage, and intentional living. Active participation turns life into a meaningful adventure, where our actions, awareness, and gratitude allow us to experience the fullness of every season